comfortable seat. Roll those shoulders up and away from the ears. Keeping the chest nice and lifted. We'll drop the nose just a little bit toward the floor. And starting to soften the eyes. Soften the face. And just connect to the breathing. We'll start to lengthen out the inhale and the exhale. I'm going to add a little pause at the top of the inhale. So when your inhale is nice and full, just retaining the breath just a few seconds before you exhale. And notice when you get to that point, are you actually full in the lungs, or is it just part way? Seeing that with your inhale, if you can truly fill the lungs before you just hold for just a few seconds and letting go when it's time for your exhale. Then I'm going to add a little pause at the end of the exhale as well. So the same amount of time as you're holding your inhale, you're going to hold the exhale out. So maybe it's just a count of 2 or 3 or 4. It's remembering on each part to get full length of the breath. So at the top of the inhale, your full lungs are completely full, and we're holding that breath in for just a few seconds. And then when you exhale, you're exhaling completely, all of the exhale out, and then just holding the breath out for the same amount of time. Just adding this retention of 2 parts of the breath. And then we'll let go of the holding of the breath, just coming back to your natural breathing. And notice if there's any difference now, any change in the breath. And then on your next inhale, slowly open the eyes and come back into space. All right, let's take the right hand down, left hand up and over. Come into a side bend. Yeah, nice and backwards. Right hand down, left hand over. No, it doesn't matter, Joe. You were right. I said one thing and didn't mirror, so you're good. We're coming to the other side anyway. We come on up and over to the other side, whichever side we want. Just lengthening out the shoulder, the side of the body. Then we'll inhale and come on back to center. Let's take the hands back by the hips, lift the center of the chest up toward the ceiling, shoulder blades coming together. Breathing. And then on inhale, we'll come on back up to center. Let's interlace the fingers. We'll press the hands forward and then elbows straight up and over the head. And we'll bring the hands back down. We'll change the interlace of the fingers, other pinky fingers on the bottom. And then we'll press the hands forward again and up and over the head. Try and keep the face soft, the neck soft. Just reaching with the hands, the arms. And we'll bring the hands back down and let's turn to the left. So we're going to twist around the spine. You can use the hands for helping here. Try to keep an upright posture, lifting up to the head. And we'll inhale back through center and exhale other side. And we'll inhale and back to center. All right, let's come on into hands and knees. So the knees underneath of the hips, feet are hip distance apart, and the hands underneath of the shoulders. And then when you're ready, let's do some cat-cow. So tailbone up, chest up, lifting the head. And then on your exhale, abdominals in, lifting the back up toward the ceiling. Moving with your breath. Eyes are soft, face is soft. Cat-cow. And the next time that you come into cat pose with that arched back, that'll be the last one. We'll come back to a neutral spine. And then from here, we'll take the right hand directly under the nose. And with an inhale, we'll take the left hand up toward the ceiling. So right hand stays down, left hand up. And on your exhale, slide the hand along the floor through to the right, dropping the head down, full exhale. Inhale and open, bringing the hand back up toward the ceiling. Exhale, slide the hand through and reach. Inhale and open. Exhale and through. And inhale and open. And exhale, reach, hold, and breathe. Maybe you come down onto your head or your shoulder or both here. On an inhale, we'll come on back to center. All right, other side. So left hand stays down on your next inhale, right hand up toward the ceiling. Exhale, reach through to the left side, full exhale. Inhale and open. Exhale and reach. Inhale and open. Exhale and through. And inhale and open. Exhale, reach, hold, and breathe. Then inhale, we'll come on and back up to hands and knees. We'll take the hands forward, about shoulder width apart, just a little bit ahead, maybe 5 or 6 inches. Spread your fingers wide. You're going to push into your fingers and the center of your palm. So see if you can get the weight a little off of your heel of your hand, pushing more into the fingers. You might feel a little bit like you're tilting the hand down. And try to keep that. Tuck your toes and come into a downward facing dog. So lifting the hips up and back. Try to not sink onto your wrists. So the way you do that is to keep pushing into those fingers. Keep pushing into the finger mound so the fingers meet the hand. And keep pushing through the arms. And also drawing your legs back behind. Using the leg muscles, those thigh muscles, starting to take your heels toward the floor. Just breathing here. So by drawing the legs back, we're pulling the weight of the hips back behind and reducing the weight on the hands. So I'm going to try to balance across all 4 points. I'm going to pick up your right foot. I'm going to hook the right foot around your left leg. So the back side of your left leg. You're just going to hook the toes and start to take that left foot, that heel toward the floor more. So with your right foot kind of hooked around, you're in a 3-legged dog kind of position, but you've got your other foot just kind of hooked around and starting to take your heel down, starting to feel the back of that leg, that left leg. A little bit of that calf muscle. And then we'll switch. We're going to take the right foot, put it down onto the floor. I'm going to pick up your left foot now on the other side. And just hook the foot around the back of the calf muscle and start to take the heel a little more toward the floor. So you're still in a downward dog kind of position. We're just in a one-legged version here. Just a little bit extra weight, starting to bring that heel a little closer to the floor, starting to feel the back of the calf. And then we'll bring both feet to come back onto the floor, back into our downward facing dog. And then we'll come forward into either a plank pose or bring your knees down for half plank pose. So if your knees are down, you still have your hips forward. So they're not back over your knees. They're forward so that your shoulders are right over your hands. And yeah, if you're in full plank pose, same thing here. You're going to push back through your heels if you're in full plank, reaching to the top of the head. So still active in the hands, making sure we're pushing into the fingers and trying to take the weight off of the heel of the hand. From here, we'll bring your elbows in close to the body and lower all the way down to the floor. Tops of the feet down, tailbone down, shoulders away from the ears and down the back. Keep those elbows in, lift the head and the chest for Cobra pose. Elbows in, head and chest lifts, tailbone down. And on exhale, we'll come back down to the floor. We're going to slide your elbows underneath of your shoulders for Sphinx pose. So elbows are shoulder width apart here on the floor. They're right under your shoulders. Hands are shoulder width apart as well. The palms of the hands are down on the floor. So notice your shoulders. If they're up by your ears, if you're kind of sinking here, draw them down, away from the ears, down toward your back, down towards your hips. Tailbone down toward the floor. You can lift the head and the chest. You might look up toward the ceiling. Just breathing here. Now, if this feels okay on your back, go ahead and bend your knees, taking your feet up toward the ceiling. You can keep looking up, keep lengthening. Shoulders still away from the ears. And then we'll bring the feet back down to the floor. You can slide your hands back by your shoulders. Elbows in close, press into the hands, half plank pose. Pushing up here. Tuck your toes, downward facing dog. Down here, big step forward with the right foot, coming into high lunge runner stretch. Bringing that foot up by your hands. And if you can, try to bring your back heel to the mat. I'm going to draw into your core and come on up for warrior one. Hips are square to what's in front, tailbone down, chest lifts. If you're okay here, arms up, warrior one. Breathing. We're balancing the weight between the 2 feet. So if you're heavy in one foot, push into the other foot. Active feet, active legs, full breathing. Let's take your hands down to support your lower back. So just the fingers on the lower back here. Draw your shoulders back. Remember that thing we did at the beginning of class. Lift the center of chest up toward the ceiling. So you might look up or behind if your balance is okay, or you might still look straight ahead. So coming a little bit into a back bend, maybe leaning back, tailbone down, straight down between the feet. Strong legs. And then we can release the back bend. We'll come back up into the warrior one. And then downward facing dog. Bring the hands down, big step back. So let's take the left foot forward, high lunge, runner stretch, other side. So I'm going to try to walk that foot up by your hands. Bring your back heel down to the floor if you can. Here, strong in the legs when you're ready. Come on up, warrior one. Hips are square forward, front knee bent, arms up, breathing. Trying to stay present with what you're doing, not with what may come after or whatever else may pop into the brain. Staying present with what we're doing right now. Let's try a back bend on this side. We'll take the hands to the lower back, keep those hips squared forward. Lift the center of the chest up toward the ceiling. Try to make length in the back of the body. And then maybe starting to arc backwards. And on inhale, we'll come on back up. One more warrior one here, nice and strong. And downward facing dog. Big step back. And we'll bring the hands and the feet together for Uttanasana, standing forward bend. So tailbone lifts up toward the ceiling, upper body softens down toward the floor. If your hands can easily touch the floor, then go ahead and wrap your arms around your legs and start to pull in closer so you can bring the chest more toward the legs and the head drops a little more toward your feet. Keep lifting that tailbone up, keep lengthening out on the legs. So you can think about tailbone up, feet into the floor, dropping the head down a little more each day. If your hands are around your legs, we'll release them. I'm going to take a deep bend to the knees, abdominals in, come on up to standing, straighten out the legs, Tadasana, mountain pose. All right, let's take the hands up and over the head, so reaching up toward the ceiling. And here we're going to bend the knees, coming down for a chair pose. Holding here, breathing. So balancing the weight across the whole bottom of your feet. So from heel to toe, left and right sides, evenly pushing down. On inhale, pushing the feet, come on back up. Turn your palms toward the floor and bring your hands down level with the floor. So elbows are straight and hands are straight out in front of you. Feet are hip distance apart. On an exhale, bend your knees, come down for this version of chair pose. Breathing here. So feet are, outside edges of the feet are parallel. Balancing the weight between your feet, between the 2 feet, between heels and toes, tailbone toward the floor, protecting that lower back. Breathing. And pushing the feet, come on back up. Bring the hands up and over the head, turn the palms toward each other, and then bring them together. Palms together over your head, coming into crescent pose to your right, dropping down, both shoulders in line. So try to not twist. We're not going to try to bring your front of your chest toward the floor, kind of coming down on the side. Yeah. On the inhale, we'll come back up through center. Exhale, crescent pose, other side. So it's a straight side bend. And inhale, back up to center. And release your hands. All right, we're going to work on hand on big toe pose today for our balance. So you'll need a strap. And you might want to be near a piece of furniture for balancing. So hand on big toe pose. If you were to grab your foot, you would have it in front of you, but we're going to use the strap instead. So what we're going to be doing is lassoing our foot. When we're standing on one foot, you can use a piece of furniture as needed. We'll be lassoing and lifting. So we're going to start standing. Let's stand on the left foot this time, mixing it up. Standing on your left foot. We're going to be holding the strap in your right hand, and your right foot's going to be the one that goes in. So that means your left hand is free for any support that you may need. So just like in all of our balancing postures, you want to try to keep the hips and the shoulders as level with the floor as you possibly can. If your hip lifts, you're going to go that direction. You're going to go the opposite direction. If your shoulders are turning, you're going to go in that direction. So you want to try and keep hips and shoulders level. So with that, you're going to shift the weight over. So just a lateral shift onto that left leg. And then go ahead and bend the knee, lasso your foot. Hold the strap as close to the foot as you can and lift upright. So when you do that, notice what happens to your hips. If that hip is coming way up, try to bring it back down. Bring the opposite end of that hip down toward the floor. Maybe don't lift as high if you need to. You can challenge your balance maybe by removing your hand. Micro movements in the left leg, left foot. Breathing's easy here. Hand on big toe pose. Try to keep those hips level. Try to lift up to the top of the head, nice and tall posture. Couple breaths. Yeah, your other hand can be used for balance. All right, so from here, I'm going to try to take that leg now out to the side. So as you do that, keep those hips level. If you come out, just finding a way to come back in, breathing here, using your support. Notice how much strength you have to have in your left leg. All right, we're going to bring that foot back in and go ahead and release that foot down. All right, that makes sense? You're all on mute, so I'm just going to pretend that that was a okay. Yes, we're good to go. All right, let's try the other side. Hand on big toe pose, different side, different balance. So I'm going to be balancing, standing on that right leg, nice and strong connection with the floor. Use your support as needed, totally okay to do that. Slip that foot into your strap, lift that leg. Maybe it doesn't come up parallel, that's okay. Try to keep your outer hip on that left side. Try to keep it down toward the floor. You can also think of inside edge of the lifted leg rolling up. Level hips with the floor. Lifting up through your top of your head, nice and tall posture, breathing. Micro movements in your standing leg, standing foot. Finding the edge of your balance. Where's your challenge place? Letting the face be soft. Breath nice and easy. And then from here, we're going to take that foot out to the side. Again, try to keep your hips as level with the floor as you can. Your upright posture. And we'll bring that foot back to center. And go ahead and release. Okay. Let's go ahead and set the straps aside. We're going to come back onto the mat for, let's do Trikonasana, our triangle pose. So you can grab a hold of a block if you want to use one. We're going to have that up by your right foot. So remember triangle pose. Your right foot is going to come parallel, outside edge of the foot parallel to the long side of your mat. Big step back on your left foot, toes in, heel out on that side, and the feet are in a line. So if you were to draw a line from the inside edge of that front foot, it would bisect the ankle, the heel, bisect the foot on the other side. So nice and straight line. Hips are in line with your feet. So you're going to rotate them, hips in line, in the same line as your feet. Yeah, both legs straight. Connect the feet with the floor. Breathing here. So feel nice and strong. Tone the muscles of the legs and pull up into your core. So it's like you're drawing energy from the earth into your belly. Nice and strong here. We'll bring the arms out to the side. Breathing. Reach through the right fingertips and then hinge at the hips, bringing that right hand down to your block if you're using one. Both legs straight, stack the shoulders. One on top of the other, hands one on top of the other, and lean back a little so your head and shoulders are in line with your left foot. Yeah, so try to lean back and open here. Breathing. Just like in all of our standing postures, whatever foot is in contact with the floor, you're going to try to balance your weight between the feet, using the tone in the legs to not lock any joint. Good. So from here, with control, we're going to bend that front knee right over that front ankle and come on up for Warrior Two. Virabhadrasana 2. Tailbone straight down between the feet. So it's dropping right down toward the floor. Breathing. Warrior Two. Let's try reversed warrior. We'll take the right palm up toward the ceiling and reach up. Left hand can come down that back leg and as much of a side bend as you want here. Just breathing and enjoying. Enjoy the stretch. On the inhale, we'll come back into the Warrior Two. A couple breaths here. Good. Release the arms and straighten the legs. We're going to work our way into standing wide leg forward bend. So you can turn your feet now. So they're still wide, but you're going to turn the feet toes in, heels out. And if you can't touch the floor, you want to block in the middle. If you can touch the floor, you don't need one. Toes in, heels out, double inner spiral on the thighs. Still strong legs here. We're going to come on down, releasing your hands to the block or the floor. Standing wide leg forward bend. So you're still going to balance your weight between your toes and your heels and both sides of your feet. So if you're rolling onto that pinky toe side, you're going to push into your big toe mounds and try to balance the weight across the whole bottom of the foot. Same thing here. We're going to lift that tailbone up toward the ceiling, engaging the legs. And that's the support that allows your head to drop down toward the floor. If you want, you could, if you're low here, you could bend your elbows, maybe slide your hands back by your feet, and perhaps start to bring your head onto the floor. As you start to work down, the lower you go with the upper body, the more the tailbone has to lift and the legs have to lengthen. We're still balancing the weight evenly across your feet. So don't get too far into your toes, so you roll forward. Don't get too far into your heels or you'll fall backward. Both knees are straight, legs are long, upper body softening down. On inhale, we're going to straighten those arms, coming back to center. And you can heel toe your feet toward each other. And then we'll take a slight bend of the knees to come on up to standing. From here, we still have another side of triangle pose. So we're going to switch now to the left foot forward. Left foot forward, if you have that block, it's to the outside edge of that front foot. Left foot forward, right foot back. Hips in line with the feet. So rotating outward, line with the feet, arms out here. Strong legs. So first you got to connect the feet to the floor, toning the muscles of the legs, working from the earth up. Making sure we feel solid, we feel balanced. Then you can reach through that left hand and come on down. Trikonasana, triangle pose. Remember, the legs are your support in this posture. So keeping strong legs, giving contact with that back foot. Stacking your shoulders over each other and your hands over each other. And think about the left side, your hip, left hip to left shoulder. Try to lengthen out there as well. It's the short side of the body. And breathing. And from here, we'll bend that front knee right over your front ankle and come on up for warrior two. Tailbone straight down between the feet. Breath is flowing. Really connecting with the feet, with the legs, with the strength of the posture. And we'll take that left palm up toward the ceiling, reach up, right hand comes down the leg, reverse warrior. No side bend here. And then coming on back to warrior two. And then we can release and step the feet together. We're going to work our way down onto the mat. All the way down, we're going to come onto the back. So onto the back, knees bent, feet on the floor. Just going to breathe into the belly. Just feeling how the body is doing, how the mind is doing. Then we'll walk the feet in close toward the hips and try to line up the feet so they are parallel. And bring the hands down by your hips and push your elbows into the floor so you can kind of draw your shoulder blades together on your back. So we'll together and flatter. And then the tops of your shoulders will start to roll down toward the floor. And even here, so just right here with the shoulders down and your hips still on the floor, start to lift the lower back into an arch. So you're going to start to lift the center of the chest up toward the ceiling. So you got a little bit of an arch here with the hips down, shoulders down. And actively push your shoulders further into the floor. So tops of your shoulders down. You can feel the chest start to lift even more here. And then keeping all of that, now push into your feet and lift your hips straight up toward the ceiling. So as you do so, you're going to lengthen out. The tailbone's going to point toward your knees. Keeping those tops of the shoulders pointing down, keeping the center of the chest lifting, coming into this arched bridge pose. Breathing all the way uphill into your belly. Feet and legs are strong, pushing down into the floor. And then we'll slowly lower the hips back down to the mat. We'll pick the feet up off the floor and see if you can reach down and grab your ankles. We're going to draw the soles of the feet together and your knees open, knees wide here, coming into this version of reclined Baddha Konasana. And then from here, we'll kick the feet up for happy baby pose. So kicking the feet up toward the ceiling. I'm going to hold the outsides of the feet if you can reach them, or your shins. Starting to draw your knees toward your shoulders and try to lengthen out the back. See if you can bring the hips back down onto the floor. If you can soften the head, the neck, the shoulders. And then we'll release the feet straight up toward the ceiling. Bring your hands down onto the floor by your hips. And then the hands on the floor, kicking the feet straight up, feet together, legs together. Press through your heels. Draw your toes towards your nose. So you're lengthening out the back side of the legs. Keeping your hands down on the floor and your shoulders down on the floor. Draw your abdominals in. Just pulling those lower abdominals in. Press through your heels, toes toward the nose. And then just start to take your feet straight forward, as if you're going to lay the legs down on the floor. Nice and slow, kicking your feet forward. Keep the knees straight. You're going to find a magic spot where it feels challenging to hold. Draw the abdominals in and hold the legs there. Just breathing. We're going to challenge places. Try to keep your shoulders soft. Abdominals are working here, pressing through your heels. Both feet together. Good. Breathing. Keep the shoulders soft. Couple of breaths. Nice work. Couple of breaths here. And then we're going to bring those feet back up toward the ceiling, all the way up. Good. Bend the knees. Bring the feet back down to the floor. Relax. Breathe into the belly. Let's extend the right leg long on the floor, reaching that leg out. You're going to pick up your left foot, place it on your right thigh, left foot, right thigh. Grab a hold of that left knee with your right hand. So holding that knee and then roll all the way onto your right side, dropping the knee toward the floor. Letting the hips rotate, let the knee come down toward the floor and open your chest in the opposite direction, dropping your left shoulder down on the floor. Breathing in the twist. On an inhale, we'll roll on back to center. And we're going to switch sides. You can bend your knees to find where that center place is, and then extend the left leg long. Right foot goes onto your left thigh, right foot, left thigh, holding that right knee with your opposite hand, with your left hand. Roll all the way over to the left side, starting to drop the knee toward the floor. So lower body goes to the left, upper body goes to the right, dropping the right shoulder down toward the floor. And on an inhale, unwind, coming back to center. You can make your way now into Shavasana, corpse pose, finding that comfy, relaxed posture. Allowing the body and the mind to soften. Just letting go, letting gravity take over. So even though the body and the mind are relaxing, notice that if the brain starts to tell stories, notice if the thoughts start to jump into the mind. You want to stay connected with the body, stay connected with your breathing. And then use the mind and the intention to soften, to continually soften the body. Finding places tension may still be. Finding places that may be a little dark still. I'm starting to explore. And as you explore the being, try to be patient and kind. See if we can observe what's really there without having any judgment about it. Just being present with oneself. Begin to deepen the breathing. Bringing the awareness back to the breath and the body. Maybe allowing some movement to come back into the body as well. And then as you're ready, make your way up to a seated position. Hands together at the heart. Just recognizing how fortunate we are to be able to practice yoga together and noticing how you feel, how the body feels. And we get to give this gift to ourselves. Thank you for sharing your yoga with me and the other on the call. Have a wonderful rest of your evening, and I will see you all in class again. Namaste.